You're listening to Bourbon, Beards, and Belvederes, the podcast where whiskey, cigars, and beard products aren't just a hobby, they're a lifestyle. Hosted by Adam, Paul, and Jerry, three guys with real experience, full beards, and even fuller glasses. Each episode serves up thoughtful tastings, laid-back cigar talk, and honest takes on beard gear and beyond. From top-shelf pours to everyday essentials, this is the place where conversations flow as smooth as the whiskey. So, pour a glass, light one up, and enjoy the ride. This is Bourbon, Beards, and Belvederes.
Welcome to Bourbon, Beards, and Belvederes. I'm Adam.
And I'm Paul.
And I'm Jerry. Sorry about that. I got distracted. I was making sure everything was set after I said it was all set.
And today we got some products to talk about, of course. Most notably, some cigars that I'm sure are fantastic, but thanks to Jerry, I don't know. So
no, you could thank USPS because it was in Jacksonville Friday and then got sent back to Virginia.
But we've got, I guess, one of the founders. Yeah.
I am the founder, yeah.
So I'm going to shut up and let him tell us about himself and his product. Sir, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
What's up, everybody? I'm Lee Marsh from Stolen Throne Cigars, owner, CEO, founder, blender, all these things. Happy to be here. Headquartered out of Virginia. Obviously, our cigars are manufactured in Nicaragua, but Stolen Throne has been here in Virginia for about 6 years. And rocking and rolling, man. Happy to be here.
Right on. We're glad to have you, man. I know earlier, before we were recording, you said you're from Baltimore originally.
That's right.
Do you still live in Baltimore, or
No? I moved here to Virginia about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been here for a while, and then we started Stolen Throne Cigars here, and then now we're here forever.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's too easy. It's too easy here in Virginia for us. So, and I just told you before we got on, I can't do winters anymore. I'm soft. I was up there last week, and I was like, nah, this ain't for me anymore. Take my ass back home.
Yeah. I don't know much about. Our winters here in Kentucky are fairly mild, and I guess it's pretty similar to what you're experiencing there in Virginia. I think generally when weather rolls through here, Paul gets it the next day. So he's in that area ish. Jerry, on the other hand, gets to experience all that temperate Florida weather all year round. So
he's got a hard life down here.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's a freezing 71 degrees right now.
What a dick. What a dick. No, it's not bad. And in reality, I think we get snow like once every 4 years here because we're so far down south on the coast that we get a really nice long fall, which I like, and then we get like a very short winter. So it's not bad. It's not bad. But you get up I was up for Baltimore the last couple of weeks, and being in the 30s with that stiff wind, yeah, you can keep that shit. I'm not interested in any of that. I've gone soft.
Yeah.
I used to be that guy that's like shoveling snow in like a hoodie and shorts. Not anymore. Fuck that, dude. No thanks.
Sure. 100% agree. 100%. So, just like always, we got to start off with palate warmer. I don't know if you're drinking along with us today.
Sure. That'd be rude not to, huh?
Why not? Yeah. So I'm at the top left, so I'm going to go down and around. So, Paul, you're up first. What are you drinking on there, buddy?
I started off with just a rare breed, wild turkey rare breed, 116 proof. I found a local liquor store that I don't often frequent that has this on the shelf for $29.99, which surprised me because I sent you guys a message. I thought this was like $50 normally.
Yeah.
When I saw for
super underrated bottle.
What's that?
Super underrated bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And for $29.99, it's a buy all the time.
the rare breed rye is one of my go-tos on the regular basis.
I love that rye.
That's a damn good rye. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't have the rye there because I would hope it would be similarly priced, and I would just buy it by the case. But I'm going to keep one this for a $30 bottle now that I know I can get it for that. That's going to be
yeah. I'll tell you what, man. As much as I love the cigar and bourbon community, these crazes drive me nuts because like I remember my daily drinker was like Weller 12 and I could get it for like $29 like the
no
local
more.
ABC, and that shit's long gone now. So but yeah, Wild Turkey has always been one of those like just super underrated bottles for me, always.
It's my first love. I've got a lot of hazy memories drinking Wild Turkey 101.
Me too. I'm forbidden to go to some places from now on since Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple of those as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Luckily, I looked a lot different, but I had more hair on my head and less hair on my face, so I could probably get by with it now. But,
they'll still know it's me.
Well, Lee, you're next up. What are you drinking, sir?
Well, actually, I drank through a couple of my cases of the Penelope Cigar Sessions. I'm waiting on the slow train from Penelope for more of those, but I do have one of our very first rye picks from 2015, bottled in 2019 or 9/11/2019. Our new riff pick. I still got a little bit of left of that, so it's 113 proof 4-year bourbon we did with them. We were one of their first single barrel programs back in the day. The old Stolen Throne bottle there. So nice. I'll probably get into that.
Right on. Jerry, what you got?
Just went with some Penelope. They're weeded. They're 95 proof weeded. Figured start out little guy there. I got some Architect, and then I got the Cigar Sessions for a little bit later. The
Architect is one of my favorite bottles.
Yeah. This is Penelope. This one's the single barrel pick our Whiskey Society did here.
Very nice.
They dubbed it the Cigar Select. It does go really well with cigars. I don't know if I actually had that one.
If you guys get a chance to try the new toasted rye, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance to grab that, go for it. It's I'm biased. They do pay me, but I do enjoy their stuff.
No, that toasted rye is fantastic.
It's very good.
Well, I went in honor of, I was telling you guys a little story earlier about going to UK U of L football game yesterday, and there was a gentleman sitting a couple seats down from us that made the 41-0 loss just a little bit less terrible. He had some Maker's 46 in a flask, and I happened to have some Maker's 46 cast drink sitting next to me that just grabbed my eye. So that's what I'm starting with.
I was going to say, how the hell did he get a whole fucking cask into the stadium? What kind of
just rolls it in?
So Louisville has the distinction of being the bourbon capital of the world. Anything
that would be the place.
Bourbon. Yeah.
That would be the place.
Exactly right. So this comes in 109.6 proof. You can't go wrong with Maker's 46, whether it's a cast strength or just a regular, what's the, what is it, 94 proof, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 47%. So yeah. It's Jerry is a huge fan of Makers. I'm not as big of a fan of Makers as Jerry by any stretch. I prefer Wild Turkey, Heaven Hill, things like that. But this is my favorite.
That's another underrated brand when it comes to weeders, to be honest with you. And especially like the cash strength. If you guys saw a couple of years ago, it was killing like Weller 107 in the blind taste tests. It's just perception, right? Like this idea, that's
the same thing goes with Wild Turkey. Everyone thinks Wild Turkey 101 college days. They think of the regular standard Maker's Mark.
Exactly.
Once you start stepping up to the rare breed rye, I still enjoy the 101, but there's some people that won't touch it. Some of the Russell's picks. Same thing with the Makers. You get the 46 cask, all those single barrel
fire.
All those single barrel picks. Yeah. Like you get up off that bottom shelf. Well, they're more middle shelf, but the bottom shelf of those distilleries, and you're finding some fantastic bottles.
And there's where I don't want to say it's a downside, because I think a little bit is lack of a better term, ignorance of consumers, right? They get stuck in the marketing machine in this concept of like higher proof is better, price is better. That doesn't mean anything.
No.
And the same with cigars, right? Like there's a lot of the dudes that's a $30 cigar. Like that should be great. Nope. That just means that dude is tricking you into spending more money than you need to on a fucking pile of dead leaves. Right now, there is some varying, right? There's some cigars that I smoke that are higher than what I charge for cigars, but they're still good cigars, right? But there is what I always try to tell people is that there is a ceiling to what a cigar costs, right? And everything after that is just pomp and circumstance. And bourbon's the same.
Yeah, with cigars, there's got to be a reason for that price tag, like some rare leaves or something like that.
It's not even rare leaves, to be honest with you. It's just brand recognition, right?
Yeah.
I sit and I listen to a lot of younger brands, and they ask for advice when they're getting started, and they tell me they're going to do X and they're going to charge Y, and I'm like, well, one of the worst things they ever say to me is, well, Padron does it. Well, I'm like, well, Padron's been doing it for 50 fucking years. You do it for 50 years, you can charge that too, right? Like, but it's just I don't know, man. It's one of those things that I don't believe in it. That doesn't mean that I'm right and everybody else is wrong, but it's how you choose to present your company and your brand. That's all.
And I agree with you to an extent. You're talking about higher proof and things like that. That's as far as that goes, it's more taste, but it doesn't really have anything to do with price, right? I prefer the taste of a higher proof bourbon because with more water comes less oil. Less oil means less flavor, and that's just the physics of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that higher price means better.
Well, I guess my point with like higher proof, right? Like there's also been higher proof that's been straight kerosene, right? So it's
sure. Yeah.
It doesn't mean, it's a more enjoyable drink. I've had 90 proofs that I've much more enjoyed than I've had at 120 proofs, right? So it just depends. Nothing is painted with a broad brush.
Sure. That makes perfect sense. And with cigars, I like the darker, and then the higher proof cigars, I like black coffee and rare steak. Those types of things appeal to me. But I had a cigar yesterday. You were talking about price. It was an Oliva Maduro, and I can't remember what line. It was a torpedo
Series V, probably.
I'm sorry.
It's probably a Series V. Melania, probably.
No, it didn't have it wasn't any of the Series.
Okay.
Like I've got some right over there in my humidor. As a matter of fact, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it was $23 damn that I paid for this cigar, and I was in a cigar lounge, so that's a retail price. But I don't. I had a terrible time smoking the damn thing. It was so hard to hit, and that's the only time I've ever had an Oliva that was not nearly 5 minutes. They've been doing that shit for a long time.
It happens. It's a natural product, right? Even there's still standard deviation. And we bust our ass. You got a lot of people working really hard to provide smokes that you can enjoy, and it happens even to us. We try to make it happen as little as possible, but unfortunately there's going to be things that go sideways because it is a natural product.
Well, speaking of it happening, let's hear your story. How did you get into this? How did you, how did that journey happen?
Well, I always like to joke and say it's because I'm dumb, but in reality, it started out something that I just had like a passion for and something that I really love doing. And it's like one of those things where as you start to get older, you start to have these conversations with yourself like, man, if I got to work another 30 years, shouldn't I like what I'm doing? Like,
sure,
at least a little bit.
Sure.
And then you see people that like, it's one of those things. Like I pretty much keep my head down in my own business, but it's hard sometimes to not notice when someone's killing it in something they love and they're fucking happier than a pig in shit, right? Like they just can't. You could tell that they would do it for free if they had to. And I'm like, man, I don't have anything like that. I just happen to be good at what I was doing and it paid really well. And that's the way it goes. When you come from a blue collar town, like you just go to work and you work and you work and that's what you do. And so like with cigars, like subconsciously it has become this passion that I didn't even really know I had until I had a conversation with myself. Cause like, I spent a lot of my time traveling, all over the world. So, and I realized that a lot of my downtime was in cigar shops and relaxing in cigar lounges. And I'm a naturally inquisitive guy, so I started going to like the Dominican and Honduras and Nicaragua on trips just to learn, not with an idea of like, oh, I'm going to do this. Never had any of this. Yeah, it's fucking terrible. But then I was like, and then the one thing that always happens at the precipice, you say something really stupid like, I could do this, right? Not knowing shit about anything, I could do this. So then I really, once I got into that point of like, man, I think I'd like to try this, right? And then if I try it, it doesn't work out, like whatever, it's fine. I made an attempt. But after that point, after I made that conscious effort that I think I wanted to do this, I made a more pointed 5 years of just trying to learn, just going to farms, just going to factories, just talking to people, not making a cigar, not fucking around, not telling people I'm making a cigar or anything like this. Like just learning the process, talking to retailers, what works, what doesn't work, what do you like, what don't you like from manufacturers, all that kind of stuff. And so then it got to the point where it was like shit or get off the pot, right? And you know, I started making some phone calls, talking to some factories, meeting up with people, and then I met Noel Rojas through a friend of ours, a mutual friend. And then I just went all in, right? I've always been that guy that there's no such thing as halfway pregnant, so we just fucking went for it, and here we are. And I guess that was like 2017-ish time frame, and we launched the Crook in May of 2019, and we've been all gas, no brakes ever since.
That's you just introduced me to a brand new idiom, I guess. I've never heard no such thing as halfway pregnant before, but that makes perfect sense.
You either are or you ain't.
Yeah, that makes sense. Before we go any farther, I wanted to show this to you because you brought up New Riff, and that reminded me that I needed to get this motherfucking bottle and bust this sumbitch open, because our buddy D-Rock from a podcast called Whiskey and Rock, he bought this bottle for me, and I went and picked it up at the distillery the other day. This is a New Riff high note.
Shit.
This is a collaboration with Chat Whiskey.
Nice.
And then Chat Whiskey has the twin.
Yeah, which I have heading my way.
So
they use the
I will tell you this.
The turkey wheat or whatever.
Yeah, the red turkey, was it the red turkey wheat?
Yeah, they use that along with Chattanooga's high.
That shit's good, man. That and their coffee grain. If you ever have a chance to try their coffee grain stuff, it's excellent.
Basically use that with Chattanooga's high wheat mash bill. Each of them aged it for 4 years or 6 years. One in obviously New Riff and one in Chattanooga, and they put out basically they blended it two different way just to see how.
I will tell you this, like New Riff was phenomenal, man. Like we were one of their first barrel picks. They were just figuring it out, and like they let us run wild, man. Like these, if you do a barrel pick now, you're lucky to get maybe like 3 barrels to check. We had 20 barrels to work out of and whittled ourselves down, right? So like we were fucking ripping and running. We were ripping and running. They were so wonderful. They were so cool to deal with. And like before we did the Penelope partnership, it was kind of a Stolen Throne thing. Like we became known to do like our barrel picks, and you know, it was for me, obviously for the company, it was just a thank you to the guys. It was something we would do every year to go and kind of just we run wild, man. So like we bust our asses through the year. So it's always a nice thing I like to do to kind of give back to the guys to go pick, get our own bottle, get our own barrel with bottles and stuff like that. And so we worked with New Riff. We worked with the boys down in Nashville Barrel as well. And this is before we did, you know, the partnership with Penelope. But New Riff, they were. It was so much fun, man. It was so much fun. We had a blast with them. I love their stuff. They're another one that's very similar to Penelope, where they're high quality product for a fair price, especially with the way the market's going now. Like just every bottle's through the fucking roof. But these companies that are doing really, really good stuff at a very fair price, in my opinion.
Yeah, this holy shit. This is there's a lot going on here on the nose. Paul's gonna love it. Because there's some cherry. There's some cherry in this.
So how did the name Stolen Throne come about?
I know that you've watched a bunch of podcasts, so you know how the name's coming about. But no, I mean, so that's probably one of the most often asked questions that I get. And, it's funny because the story hasn't changed. For anyone who's heard this story, I apologize, but it's a true story, so I got to tell it again. That was like the hardest part for me, honestly, in starting the company is like I realized what I wanted to do. I understood our vision and how we wanted to operate, but what I didn't know is like what I wanted to name it, because in the name is everything. I didn't want to create something that I had to fake or had to, you see a lot of guys just like slap a Spanish name on a cigar, right? I'm a white dude from Baltimore, man. Like I have no legacy in cigars. I'm a first generation cigar maker. So I wanted it something that is true to who I am, right? And so that when me and my guys are out on the road, like we're not selling you a used car, we're just telling you our story, right? Shooting the shit with you about cigars. And the majority of this industry is very friendly. I met a lot of great people that I consider friends, and we're close, and I'm very happy for those relationships. But there's a few in every bunch that are just, dicks, like for lack of a better term. And when I was getting started, I had already had the Crook blended. I didn't know what I was going to name it. Didn't know what the company was called. Was kicking around some terrible names. And we were sitting at a dinner one time with a couple other cigar owners and reps. And like, I was helping a retail shop out at the time. And I was just happened to be at this dinner, and word had like gotten around that I was going to start a business and whatever. And some guy made a comment like, there's no seat at the table. And I was like, okay. Well, I've been drinking since lunch, and I'm not a very reserved guy. I'll be honest with you. And I said, well, fuck you. I'll steal one.
Uh-huh.
And so a couple weeks go by, and I'm with I'm with my best friend, who's my daughter's godfather. And I'm like, man, I'm really in trouble. Like, the lawyers are on my ass. I got to name this company, all this shit. And he's like, hey, remember that time you told that dude to shove it up his ass? What about Stolen Throne Cigars? And I said, oh, yeah, that's awesome. Let's do that. We'll do that. And so here we are. So,
I appreciate that very much. I am also not very reserved, as you will find through the course of this show. As I get drunk,
I've already pegged you.
Oh, just wait when that new riff for that Penelope starts going down. It's a whole different level.
There's no filter here, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that very much. That just on that story alone, without even having tried the products, you just became one of my favorite companies on this show that we've had on the show.
I love it.
I very much appreciate
it. I mean, it's true. And if you ask anyone that knows me, it kind of sticks true to who I am, right? I've always been about making my own way in life and doing my own thing. And that's kind of where Stolen Throne comes through. And like, and it's so funny because I have these conversations with Noel, and this is after we sold hundreds of thousands of Crooks. He's like, but isn't that bad? Like, he's Cuban and he's brilliant. Taught himself English. He's awesome. He's like, but Crook, that's bad. He goes, yeah, I just said I won't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Well, you can't blame him, but yeah, no, I think that's a perfect name. Perfect name for a cigar. For a company called Stolen Thrones. And it encapsulates everything. I like it. I dig it very much. I'm looking forward to USPS correcting their error and getting their shit together, And fuck you, government.
No doubt. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get shut down, boys. Here we go.
We haven't gotten shut down yet.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance.
So what did you told us how you got into the cigar industry. What did you do before? Did that lend a hand to what you're doing today, or just completely different career?
Yeah, kind of. I was a contractor for a while, and I worked in IT, and I traveled. I did some government contracts, and I floated all around the world. Spent some time in country, and but really, it's one of those things, man, where hindsight's 20/20. You realize that all my downtime, no matter what country or where I was, my downtime was spent in a cigar lounge. right? I was either drinking or in a cigar lounge. So it was like kind of serendipitous that I ended up just having to sell cigars so I could smoke a little cheaper now these days, you know? But yeah, I mean, that to your point, I guess it did play a part into what I'm doing now, because the industry feels big, but it's very small, right? So you start meeting people just as you're traveling, and then you meet people years down the road, and you're like, hey, we had a cigar years ago at this place or whatever. And it's kind of cool and romantic in that way. And you know, the cool thing about cigars is that it's such a cliche, but it's true, is it does bring people together. Like the amount of people that you meet and you just have a cigar with, like I've had a cigar with a Supreme Court justice. I've had, you know, the steel worker, right? And it's the same. We're just shooting the shit, having a cigar, right? And it's like in those lounges across the world, no matter where they are or what they are, they're your little escape from all the bullshit that you're trying to get away from for that 45 minutes, hour and a half, 2 hours that you're just smoking a cigar, right? And like that's the cool part about it. You know, that's what I like about it.
Now, I remember watching an interview.
Oh, here we go. Let's
go.
Follow up.
You were on another show, and I swear I remember this correctly, but I'm Googling it, and I can't find any information about it. Are Stolen Throne Cigars on Yellowstone, 1883 and 1923?
They are. Yeah.
I thought I remember hearing you say that, but I can't really find anything on Google. They keep coming up with like some Big Sky Country Cigars or something associated.
Yeah, so I don't know what their association is. It could just be a brand play. I know Brandon very well, the owner, but yeah. So every cigar on 1883 and 1923 were made by me and Stolen Throne Cigars.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like another just serendipitous. Like I wish I could tell you some super fucking sweet story about how like Taylor's loved me from day one and like that's how we just linked up. But no, man. So. Good friends of ours had supported me since very early. Kenny and Connie, they're a husband and wife, very lovely people. They started AME Cigars in Weatherford, Texas. Weatherford also happens to be where Bosque Ranch is, where Taylor Sheridan lives. And so, unbeknownst to me, like a couple of his like EPs and writers, they always hang out there and they smoke cigars. They've always smoked my cigars, apparently. And one of those EPs that ironically now owns that shop, it's now called Cattleman Cigar Company. Fernando, he's actually one of the showrunners. He's always liked our stuff. A prop director was in, saw the branding, and was like, hey, you want to reach out to him and see if he wants to do some stuff with us? And I was like, yeah, you know, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, right. I was like, yeah, sure, of course. and that's how it played out. But yeah, so there's Crooks and Calls, and we've made some other products for them to have on set. But there's actually Crooks and Calls on scene in 1883. So like if you guys watch the show, I don't know if you have or not, but
oh yeah,
the scene where Billy Bob goes in the saloon and they're all smoking cigars, they're all Stolen Throne cigars at the poker tables.
So what you said you made some other did you make some specialties for them as well, or?
Yeah, I made a cigar for Taylor, and then I made some other stuff that they could have for like people that aren't you know, normal smokers, different things that they were kind of looking at, some kind of just non-branded, non-banded stuff, so just so they could have but yeah, that was a super cool experience, pretty wild, right? And yeah, I mean the advertising of all of that is super weird because the NDAs and the shit I can't do, but they can do. Like that was hard for me to swallow, you know, for the non-filtered folks in the room. But it is what it is. It was a good opportunity. It was awesome. It was just a real, like, it was pretty surreal, you know, like that was kind of super dope to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it is. I'm a big fan of those shows. I've been a fan of Taylor Sheridan ever since Sons of Anarchy, and he was the ultimate dickhead on that TV show. And
he's killing it, man. He's such a good dude. He's printing money, man.
Oh yeah. He just left Paramount too. He's got something else going on now. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go, and maybe we'll see more of your cigars in those future endeavors of yours.
Hopefully.
So you guys want to talk about, or at least the three of us, Adam excluded. Well, he could talk about what he's smoking, but you guys want to talk about what we're smoking?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got a just a regular Crook of the Crown, just a Robusto size, Mexican San Andreas, Indonesian binder, and Nicaraguan filler. If that's correct on the website.
That's a nice read right off the website. Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
just and the one thing I love, well, it is one of the things I love about your cigars. From the 2 or 3 websites I typically buy from, they're $8 to $10. $10 being like, except for some of the limited releases or whatever. Those I think the Preakness was up at what, $14, something like that, $15. But that's like a one time like specialty.
Yeah, we didn't really, I lost some sleep over that. I don't really like doing that, but unfortunately we didn't have a full leeway. That wasn't all up to me what we had to charge. But yeah, I mean, for as far as like our price point, I like to stay below $12, right?
Yeah.
Because I realize that this lifestyle isn't inexpensive. I realize that my market segment is hardworking folks that are busting their ass every day. And so when they choose to spend money on a cigar and they choose Stolen Throne over all the other things that they could smoke, I take that personally. So, you know, we do everything we can to keep it in a price range that's affordable for those folks, obviously.
Yeah, that $10, well, you said sub 12, but the 8 to 10 that I was finding it for, and like I said, the 3 or 4 I go on, that's a price point I love seeing. Obviously, the cheaper the better, but sometimes you start getting down there in the $5 range. You start hitting. Nothing wrong with the factory smokes or the factory throwouts, but we all know those are the cheap. Just sit around the bonfire, smoke it, and toss it if you got to do something else.
Don't smoke cigars, yeah.
But shit, the 5th anniversary I think was like $55 for a 5-pack or something like that. So
yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, the price point is I'm a big fan of, because you could buy multiples compared to some of these companies like we were talking to. I think it was before we started recording, the $20+ cigars. Like I might pick them up, but I might only pick 1 or 2 up because I don't feel like dropping a bunch. But I go buy a 5-pack for that same price.
And what's your experience, right? Like, you know, are you enjoying that cigar? And I think like that's the sad part about it is like, look, man, if you're going out there and you're charging X and you're outperforming a cigar like mine or whatever, then good on you. But if you're not, right? If that cigar is not drawing, if that cigar, if it's under fermented or under processed or green or all these things, like, okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and what I like about it is the same with the bourbon community as well, right? Is that the consumer, and when I say this, I'm not insinuating that they were dumb prior, but they've become more intelligent and they've become more because they have more access to knowledge, whether they're taking more tours or they're listening to more podcasts like this one and they're getting more information. They are becoming the barometer. They're telling you what the brand is worth, right? And you're seeing it. If stuff's sitting on the shelf at a $15, $16, $17 price range, there's a reason for that, you know?
No, this Crook is definitely well worth that. What I spent on $8.50, $9, give or take. I'm about halfway through it now. Started out.
Toro gave you a hell of a deal. That's a hell of a deal.
Trying to see where I think I actually did pull this one off of Toro. Stolen Throne. This is the Crook. Yeah, out of stock right now.
That happens.
The 5-pack is $42.75.
Oh, they gave you a good deal.
So,
nice.
But yeah, so like I said, halfway through, it started out a little woodsy, some sweetness in there, and some spice. That second, third.
Yeah, the Robusto is real nice. So what we always do is we do a longer format and then a Robusto. The Robusto jumps right into the flavor profiles, right? But the Crook is really special because the whole idea of that cigar was, as being a boutique guy and being someone that smokes a lot of stuff, I still do. I wanted to see if I can make a cigar that I would never get bored with, right? Because hindsight's 20/20. I always tell this, people laugh, but I'm dead ass serious. If I couldn't sell them, I was smoking 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I better like it. And it really is. That cigar, I can have it as my first cigar at 4:30 in the morning or my last cigar at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So, yeah, I mean, that's a cool cigar for sure.
Yeah, it's starting to evolve into like this graham cracker style note. The spice ramps up, and then I don't know if it's because of the cigar session or what, but some coffee notes starting to come through over the first over that first half so far. It's evolved a lot, and it's been fun going through it. Paul, what are you smoking?
So you said you were smoking that. I grabbed that one too. So I'm smoking the Crook of the Crown as well. It's funny you say graham cracker because I wrote down the first third I was getting slight like black pepper spice, but I wrote down animal crackers, which is kind of similar to like graham cracker. It's getting like big, kind of bready animal cracker notes, which are great. And that's when I was drinking the Wild Turkey, which gives big caramel notes. So that kind of makes sense. So I switched it up. I'm about halfway through, and I switched it up to this 4 Rose single barrel that I cracked open, I think, last week or the week before, which I get a ton of cherry notes on. And now I'm getting some, like, cocoa notes from this cigar. And I think it's, playing nicely with that cherry notes that I'm getting from that whiskey. Wasn't picking that up before, so, I mean, that all plays to the pairing. But paired with both whiskeys, pretty fantastic so far, and I'm really liking the cigar.
What do you got? You got the 5th anniversary up there, Lee?
Yeah, I'm smoking 5th anniversary Crook Corona. I love these things, man.
I can't wait for that one. I can't wait.
Yeah,
for that one to come
if you
in.
like what you're smoking now, like the Crook 5th anniversary is just like a Crook on steroids, because as you shrink the size, you get a greater wrapper to filler ratio, and just the flavors are amplified. And it's such a heavy blend as it is. It took me quite a bit to shrink it down to Corona. But I love it. I think it just hits on all cylinders.
Yeah. This is definitely a multiple buy. I don't really buy boxes because I don't have the room for them. I got these little Pelican case, fake Pelican cases from Harbor Freight as my humidor. So
they get it done, man. They get the work done,
and for a fraction of the cost. Boxes don't typically fit in there, but some 10 packs and multiple 5 packs definitely do. Going into the blends and whatnot, when you're blending a new a line, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a certain like note or profile, or are you experimenting with certain or different tobaccos, or how's that go?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, it was just like experimenting, right? It's like being a kid in a candy store. And now it's with us growing our own tobacco and facilitating older and older stock of inventory with tobacco. Now it's just seeing where things are. I would equate it to like going through the rick house and pulling a barrel and testing it, right? And seeing where it's at. I try to be very, very like open-minded and blank canvas when I'm blending, right? I'm always afraid of becoming myopic when I'm making a new cigar. Right? Because what did I miss out of because I was so focused on making a Maduro or making a Sumatra or whatever. So I just kind of I'll pull a bale of something that I've been checking on every time I'm down there and seeing where it's at, and like just start building from that. Right. So I always joke and say like, it's like writing an album, right? You don't know it's done until it's done. And so, when with cigar blends with me, like I have hundreds of blends that I'm always fucking around with, tinkering with, and like might not do anything with them. I'm always changing them, starting over. And so like I always get this question of like, well, when do you know a blend is ready? And I like to make the joke that it's like the judge that made the definition of porn. I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it. Right? I know when the cigar is ready because it tastes right. It hits me where I think, because I'm always trying to create a new experience. If you smoke through our lines, like none of our lines kind of resemble anything else, right? It's always a new experience. And that's what you want. I never wanted to become predictable as a blender, and I never wanted to become boring. Like, oh, it's just another Stolen Throne cigar. I never wanted that, And so it takes a lot of time. I mean, my development time is usually about 1.5 years, 2 years to put out a new cigar. Right. And even now, the stuff that we're coming out with now, I had ready during COVID. Like these limiteds that we'll put out next year were stuff that we had started over COVID and kind of never got around to because we were so focused on keeping production because the demand went through the roof. So taking that time away to work on something new when people still need to get the stuff that you have out. So it's one of those, it's just a never ending process. And so I'm always working. I'm always tooling with something new because I found that it's much easier to keep going than stopping and starting. Right.
So in the Rojas factory, does Rojas have any input on your cigars, or is he you? It's just all
no,
you.
I do. Then, yeah, I do all the blends. I do all the tobacco selections and all the, I run all the process. They oversee the manufacturing.
Yeah.
So I've been with Noel since the beginning, since we launched this factory, and since Noel was getting back in the market with the Rojas line. So it just kind of like, again, it was like serendipitous that we met up at the right moment and kind of took off together, right? So yeah, I mean, it's been a wild almost 10 years, right? It's aged me exponentially. I'm gonna look like Adam soon. I'm losing hair by the day. It's going. It's going. I'm trying to hold on as long as I can, but we'll see.
Yeah, this was probably about 31, 32. So fucking, I'm in my 40s now, so it's here.
I got you slowly beat. I'm 37, but it ain't gonna be much longer. And now now I got hair envy. Like you just watch somebody and like, that son of a bitch, all that fucking hair. So I got a painting of Jamie Johnson here in the office. I look at that shit every day. I'm like, I hate you, man. All that beautiful long ass hair.
You say that as I'm actually growing my hair out.
You look. I wasn't gonna say anything. Yeah, fuck.
We reviewed a beard product on here a month or two ago. They're called the Long Hairs, and they do
I'll never buy it. Fuck them. I'll never buy
it. They started out as on Shark Tank with like they say hair ties for guys for long hair, and they do I
hate everything about this.
Well, I'm getting to the good part. They partner up with charities, and one of them is children with hair loss. So every 5 years.
Oh, well, now you made me look like an asshole.
Every like 5
now
or 6 years.
I gotta go make a donation when we get off here.
They do this big thing where it's called a great cut, where either you cut it yourself or you fly out to there in California somewhere, and they do this big conference thing. They cut hair. So I figured I'd grow it out until it gets annoying, and then donate that hair to it. So
that's awesome.
I've been trying to grow it out, and it's working now with it getting a little bit cooler out. But shit, when it comes to June, July, and August here, and it's 110 degrees, I'm gonna be pissed the fuck off.
That's I get that. I get that a lot with my beard.
This has no issue. It's really this.
Yeah.
Just I'll start sweating, and it starts sticking to the back of my head, like the neck and everything, and.
As the 3 other dudes on here that are either balding or bald, like, fuck you, man. Like, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, all this hair is just so bothering me. Like,
It's funny because my hair used to be down to fucking shit that's goddamn, like, here, right? And I cut it off for locks of love and then tried to grow it back. And it's like cutting it off made me go bald in spots, and then I was like, "Fuck!" And then over time, it's just gotten progressively worse, man. And it's
that's why I've never that's why I've never committed to the full shave off, because I just know it's not coming back, and I'm just not ready for that yet. It's coming.
It's convenient though. They shaved my head when I made the hockey team at 21 years old in college, and I've never grown hair since then. It's just so much more convenient.
Oh, well, see, that's the thing, right? Had I known then what I know now, shit. Like, I played football for a very long time, all the way through college, and I always shaved my head because it was easier with the helmet. And I wish I would have never did that shit. I wish I would have never. Like, I always had just shaved my head every year. And I'm like, man, looking back now, you should have grown that shit out, dude. You should have just grown that shit out.
I will say, as somebody that had really long hair, this is like Paul said, it's a lot. It's not only more, I mean, it's less time consuming. It's, I mean, everything that's encapsulated within the word convenient, but you don't really think about it unless you've had to fucking do it. And I mean, have to brush that shit out every morning with a goddamn giant's rat nest and fucking, and then taking care of it and whatever. At one point, I don't know if you are familiar with a gentleman by the name of Wayne Static from a band called Static X, but he would, his hair was long. He'd stick it straight up in the fucking air, and he kind of looked like, if you remember the Slim Jim guy, he had, he had a big beard too. He looked like a Slim Jim guy with a big beard. And I started fucking doing that, but you got to use this. I mean, it's basically beeswax. Getting that shit out of your hair at the end of the fucking night. It's, I mean, there's a lot that goes into taking.
I would like to have the option.
Well, I can appreciate that stance. Obviously I would too. I woke up the other night mad as fuck because I had this dream that my hair was long again and my beard but I knew in the dream, no, I'm not supposed to have hair. And then I woke up and I didn't have hair. So
I just look up at that fucking glorious bastard with his long beard and his long hair playing a fucking guitar, and I just
look, Jamie's got a massive beard and a massive head of hair, and when
he does,
first
man. And now
I showed my wife.
Now it's all fucking white and fucking, dude, it's awesome. Now he's like wearing the old school shooter glasses, dude. He's just living large. I hate him so much. I love him at the same time. It's such a fucking, it's terrible because he's like no bullshit. I'm sure you guys have heard. He's like one of my favorite artists. I've probably seen him 100 times. He's one of the best songwriters since probably Willie Nelson. He's awesome. But man, he pisses me off with all that damn hair.
Yeah, my wife. She knows who he is. He's been around for a long time. But when he first came onto this, I mean, one of his earliest albums, at least, from back in 2006, I think. The Dollar.
The Dollar, baby.
He had a short beard and short hair, and then I showed her a picture of him, and she hadn't fucking seen him in, goddamn 20 years, I guess. And she was like, "That's Jamie Johnson." And I was like, "Yeah, fucking." That's Jamie Johnson,
Yeah, he was a Marine, man. He had that. Yeah. He had the crew cut. He was. Now he's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny, right? Because like this will show you how disturbed I am. Like, I'm a big proponent of sad music. I like sad country songs. I like all that. I just think it's better. I just think it's better music. And my roommates after college used to joke with me like, "Oh, Jamie's got skinny and he's happy." I'm like, "Yeah, his music's gonna suck for a while. I need him to be fat and sad." So I was real, and it's so fucked up, man, because like when I heard he got married, I'm like, God damn it. God damn it.
Yeah. I know some people that said the same thing about Tyler Childers. They said,
oh, yeah.
He got sober and they're like, "Oh, fuck, I wish he'd get back on drugs." It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what a terrible thing to say, but kind of like, yeah. No, I mean, Tyler, dude, I've been very lucky to run into a couple of those guys, like him, Sturgill Simpson, and Jamie Johnson.
Sturgill's awesome too, yeah.
They're awesome. I mean, Sturgill did get a little weird there for a while.
Yeah,
like the sound
of all the way down was fucking weird as shit.
It's so weird. And then he like you tell everyone you hate sounding like Waylon Jennings, and then you go cut a record just like Waylon Jennings, and you're like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, when he did the bluegrass cuts, it's phenomenal stuff, man. And I just saw him again a couple months ago. It was the same night of the Tyson Jake Paul fight. So whenever that was, I saw him.
Shit, that was last year.
Holy shit. Well, all right, then it was then. One of the best concerts I've ever seen, man. No opening act. Nope. Showed up at 8:30, played for 3 hours, fucking just killed it. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was just to put a finer point on it. It was a year and 2 weeks. It was November 15th of last year is when that happened.
Ain't it funny how time slips away?
Yeah, man, it happens real fast. But I've had the pleasure of seeing Tyler once, and it was great. Then Chris Stapleton, got to see him not too long ago. I'm a big fan of his as well.
How can you not be, man? You don't even have to like country music like that, dude.
That's true. But around here, Chris Stapleton was born here in Lexington. He didn't live here, but he was born here. I'm not sure where Tyler was born, but he's from not far from here, and so is Sturgill. So
so Tyler
kind of obligated to like them.
So Tyler, if I'm not mistaken, he's from like the West Virginia Kentucky line, I believe.
He's close to it, yes.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the name of the town. I don't remember the name of the town. Oh, it's Lawrence, Kentucky.
Well, Sturgill, Sturgill was in the Navy, so he has ties to here. He was at Dam Neck here, and so he always comes and plays here. I've seen Tyler and Sturgill a handful of times, not as much as I've seen Jamie Johnson, but I got so pissed at a friend of mine, a guy I used to work with. He got my fucking ultimate experience. He saw Tyler at fucking Red Rock. It was fucking terrible. I hated it. I had to take that dude off the Christmas list. I was so pissed. Like Red Barn Radio, like just hearing that dude acoustically in Red Rock would be a fucking all time. Right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
There's some bucket list stuff, and that's got to be one. Like I was lucky enough I got to see Willie live with the Outlaw Music Festival with Sturgill and Tyler's. That was fucking sweet.
Yeah, I've seen him.
I got to see Merle Haggard before he died. That's it. I didn't get to see the rest of the Highwaymen. That makes me sad, but I'm super happy to be able to see those two dudes.
Yeah, I got to see Willie in Louisville at the Yum Center, and it was him. And I mean, if you like sad bastard country music, Alison Krauss is right up your alley. Mm-hmm. It was them together, and Willie was visibly, he was feeling his age. It was 3 shows later, I think he walked out on stage. He said hello to the crowd, and then I think he sang like 3 songs and then threw his hat into the crowd, then walked off stage because he was just ailing. He's fucking old. So I was glad to see him.
Man. He is. But, but they did it right. Like when we saw him here with the Outlaw Music Festival, Sturgill had the longest set. And he came on, played a couple songs, and then played a little melodies with a bunch of people. And I tell you what, man, his son Lucas sounds just like him. So they brought Lucas out.
You're talking about Lucas
Nelson.
Lucas Nelson, yeah.
They brought him out, and he sang a couple of his dad's songs. It was awesome. But no, it was Tyler, then Sturgill, and Sturgill had the long set, and then they finished up with Willie. But Willie was like short and to the point. It was good enough to see him, and you got to feel it. You got to feel the moment there. But yeah, I mean, dude, he's in his 90s, bro, and he's just he's done it long. I mean, if you. The life that dude has lived and the many careers he had. I mean, one of my favorite things, I'm going to share you guys a tradition, but you got to promise me that you're going to do this now. So if I'm going to share this with you, you got to do it now. If you guys ever roll through Nashville.
Yeah, I'll be going there in a couple months, as a matter of fact.
All right, perfect. Here's what you got to do. Every time I'm in Nashville, I go into Tootsie's. I sit at the very end of that first bar. And I have a beer right at the corner because that's where he wrote Crazy for Patsy Cline right there. I have a beer there every time. And if it's not super busy, I slide the bartender a little bit of money and I smoke a cigar there too.
Okay. Well, I've just written that down. I'll be there and it's tomorrow's December, so I'll be there. In January, so basically next month. But
yeah, man, that's awesome.
And then I got to go back in April, and then again in July.
Oh, I gotta go back to Nashville.
I fucking love Nashville, right? But like, there's a reason.
I do too, man.
I
do too. I end up drinking too much, eating too much. And it's fun time.
So my daughter's got a cheer thing in January, and then I've got a martial arts tournament in April, and then we're taking her back down there for school in. At the end of May or beginning of July, whatever she decides to do. But
that's awesome, man.
I try to get down there 3 or 4 times a year. Well, not that many, probably 2 or 3. I got a buddy and some family that live down there. I fucking love it. It's great. Nashville's fucking. It's so much fun.
It is, man. It's a blast.
Yeah,
it's a blast. Yeah, there's some really, really good food there. Some cool shit to see and. Just walking Broadway, man. Like you get caught in the moment. Like what I always like to do is I would get up in the morning when Broadway's dead and just kind of walk Broadway with a cigar and kind of just look and just get caught in that moment of like, man, the people that have walked up in here trying to fucking make shit happen. As I get older, I get weirder and weirder about that kind of shit. Like just you walking in Tootsie's, like, man, how many people have played here trying to make it big or whatever,
Yeah, I might get in trouble for saying some people might not agree with this opinion. Let's put it that way. But I went to a buddy's bachelor party weekend. We went down to Nashville, and we stood in line. You had to. They were funneling people in through the back door for some reason instead of the front door. I'm guessing because of how many people were in the front once I got in there. But it took me 30 fucking minutes to get into the fucking place. I don't remember what it was called, but I'm walking like this, and it's not asses to elbows. It's elbows to assholes. You're literally inside two other people the entire time you're walking.
Yeah.
And I finally made it to the front. There was no way I was going to get a beer. I couldn't stand like a regular person. It was fucking awful. And then they said, and now we've got coming to the stage, Kid Rock. And I was like, I have to get out of here right now because
I'm with you.
I personally, whatever is probably whatever, it's fucking music. I can't do it. So I fucking made a beeline for the door. But the
were you at his place though? Like were you at his bar?
I'm saying no, it wasn't his bar. This was years and years before he had a bar down there. This was fucking.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, this was close to 20 years ago. But I was like, it was awful. I just couldn't. So I had to. I mean, I was close enough. I looked over and he came on stage. I didn't look at his face, but I was close enough. I could reach out and grab his ankle. He was this close to me. But like I said, I just kept in mind. I have to get out of here. And eventually I did. I think it took me like 2.5, 3 songs to get the fuck out of there. It was so crowded. But
that ain't for me. I would have been right there with you. Let's get the fuck out of here. But, to your point, I'm a traditionalist, man. Like, I really don't like this whole idea of Broadway with all these, like, name brand folks getting their own bars and shit. I prefer the old school honky tonks. I go to 3 places when I'm there. I go to Tootsie's, Nudies, and the stage. That's where I go. I'm not really, I'm not gonna go into Eric Church's. I remember seeing Eric Church on the college scene, man. I was a big Eric Church fan back in the day. But yeah, I like the old school stuff, man. I like the old school feel, the old honky tonk bars.
There was one down there, and it's not there anymore. And I wish that it was, but it was one that was not. You've got the ones that are owned by all these big names, and then you've got ones that everybody knows that stay open because of that, like Acme, the fucking. But there was one.
The Dive, man, the Dive.
Yeah, well, it was called the Trailer Park or some shit like that, and when you went in, it was made to look like a fucking trailer park. Like the floor was like that green
particle board or
the green plastic shit that you would put on the porch of a trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like the turf or whatever.
That was the whole floor, and they had some giant plastic rocking chairs in there and shit. And then the bar area was made to look like a 1980s bowling alley restaurant dish. Whatever the fuck you call it, a grill, I guess. It had that wood paneling on the whole fucking back of the wall. It was awesome. It was an awesome place, and it didn't last. It's not there anymore, and I fucking hate that. But yeah, when I go, I'll give you my little tradition since you gave me yours. You
all right.
So, how do you feel about banana pudding?
It's either really, really great or not good.
No, well, it's a little different from banana pudding, but it is fantastic, and it's a banana pudding ice cream.
Shit.
And it's on Broadway. It's called Savannah's Candy Kitchen. Okay, so I will let me screen share here with you real quick. Where the fuck is that? There it is. Do I have that ability, Jerry?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
We're gonna find out.
You can try it.
We're gonna learn today. All right, so
oh hell yeah.
Look at all that shit. There are ice creams in the back. They make it all there themselves.
I love it.
It's right down towards the end of Broadway. This is what it looks like from the outside. It's really close to. It's on the. So if you're looking at the river, it's on the left side, and it's really close. But
so is it on the George Jones side of the Broadway?
That
end or the other end, like towards the Hall of Fame?
It's so if you're looking at the river, right? Then it's on the left-hand side. Oh, it's
okay. Yeah.
Like close to the Hard Rock Cafe.
Okay. All right.
So
yep.
you know, they got all this shit in there, and they got a little train that's on a track that runs around the top here. But that fucking ice cream is the shit, and you got to go there and get some banana pudding ice cream. It'll change your life.
Done. I'll do it for you. I'll do it.
And I will go have a beer at the first seat at Tootsie's.
There you go. Deal.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You brought up George Jones. I made me remember. I went and saw George Jones like 20 plus years ago, in Salisbury at the Wacomico Civic Center in Salisbury, Maryland. And he
showed up.
Oh yeah, he showed up. He's a little late, but he showed up and he walks up on stage. He's like, "Hello, Pennsylvania." And nobody corrected him. It was fantastic.
And what are you gonna say?
What are you gonna say? Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. When I was a kid, I remember my grandfather talking about going to see George Jones. He said, "Yeah, you just want to make sure you get to the first show, not the second, because he might not be there."
Yeah, it was obviously towards the end there, but it was a great show. I mean, one of those in the Civic Center, so everybody's sitting down. I remember they had an option where you could go and sit like in one section that had like these fold down tables and have a meal, a dinner, like at the seat. So like all the old people up there, like eating their, you know, Salisbury steak or whatever the hell was on the menu.
Watching the show. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
It wasn't like a boot. It wasn't like, you know, you had a suite or something. You were just at like a nicer chair right in the stadium or a little thing. It's like I think it was the same place my sister like graduated college. It was like just a little Civic Center thing, but
well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because like when he died, I saw like I had tickets to see Jamie Johnson at like a little music hall in Pennsylvania, like the day after, a couple days after, and he comes out and he goes, "Well, I don't have anywhere to be tomorrow, and I've already paid the fine, so I'm going to play a little extra long," and so. He played a whole set of George Jones songs before he even started his set, so it was awesome. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Getting back to these cigars, you got a couple ones coming out that are already out. The 150 Preakness, the Castle 919, the Argos. Kind of talk. I mean, you obviously said you're from Baltimore, so you got that.
Yeah, so. I had a couple of the guys tell me from Cigar Media that this was the year of Baltimore, and I said, "What are you talking about? It's always the year of Baltimore with me. What are you saying?" No, so kind of along the way with like the Yellowstone stuff is with the Preakness. I don't really get caught up in a lot of this, you know, the pomp and circumstance of all this bullshit. But I will say, like. Being asked to make the 150th anniversary Preakness cigar was really big deal for me because obviously growing up in Baltimore, watching that race every year, going to that race and being a part of the 150th anniversary was really, really monumental for me and my family. You know, that was one of the things like my grandmother got a real big kick out of that. So that was awesome. And then it just happened to coincide with the 10-year anniversary of my grandfather being gone. I was raised by my grandparents and, so I paid a little homage to them with the Castle 919. So the 919 is actually my childhood address. My grandmother still lives in that house today. And the White House, and my grandmother's house is white and black, and that's what the color scheme came from, with the Baltimore being for the purple. And so that I grew up in a neighborhood in Baltimore called Essex. And so the castle on the band is a castle from Essex, England. So we took the castle from Essex, England, Essex, Baltimore, and then put the 919 across. So that's my childhood address.
That's really cool.
So it has been like a year of Baltimore, I guess, with the Castle 919 and the Preakness.
No, very cool. And then sticking with the Baltimore theme, tell us about the partnership or the distribution rights or whatever you have with Ed Reed's Cigars.
Oh, yeah. So Ed and I have been friends for a long time. I mean, I was a football player all the way through college, had a tryout, didn't make it, obviously, you know, and here I am making cigars. But Ed, obviously one of the greatest football players of all time. I'm biased, but it's true. I don't care what you say. No, he's been a friend of mine, man, and he's a cigar enthusiast, man. He really loves the culture, really loves everything about cigars. He's really into the artistic and romantic side of cigars. And so he'd approached me years ago about making a cigar, and I had told him, I said, look, man, like if you want to just be a gimmick and put your name on a cigar, like I'm not your guy, but if you're serious, like give me a call. So he had started making some cigars with Plasencia, and then he had reached out to me as trying to finish the product. He was having some hard times, like getting it fully designed and kind of brought to market. So he reached out to me, and then he voluntold me that I was going to be his distributor. That's not really what we had planned. But when your mom's favorite football player threatens to call your mom, you just say yes and move on. So no, we've been friends, for years, and I'm happy to be able to help distribute him. And he loves cigars. He's with us at PCA every year in the booth. So especially this year, New Orleans was big for him. He's from New Orleans, so to be in his hometown and doing that, and I'm on the board of his foundation. We do a lot for the youth of Baltimore and New Orleans as well. Every year we go down to New Orleans and do a free coaching clinic at his high school for about 300 local kids. So it's awesome, man. He's such a good dude. He's such a brilliant guy outside of football. Like, he was so great on the field, but he's so much more than that. And I'm lucky to call him my friend. And obviously we do the cigar thing together.
That's very cool.
Man, you got like this beautiful, sexy ambient thing with the black. You're just like blowing smoke in the air. The lights you're very angelic.
Yeah, it's just curtain because I'm sitting in my shed.
But it looks good.
All the tools
looks
on the
good.
shelf behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's okay. You're selling it. You're selling it. You're selling it.
So going back to your cigars, how did the names of each one come up? You got the Crook of the Crown, you got the Call to Arms, Three Kingdoms, Yorktown Fleet. Well, you've already talked about the Castle 919. You got the Phantom Queen, Argos. How those names come about?
So the hardest one was Crook, obviously, right? But like in reality, once we had Stolen Throne, like it's very easy to stay on brand.
I was gonna say there's definitely a theme with them.
Yeah, the Crook rolled right off the tongue after that, and then outside, I'd love to tell you some sweet fucking story about every blend, but it's just not true. Like the Castle obviously has meaning, and they're all meaningful cigars to me, but sometimes, dude, more often than not, the name just comes to me, right? Like I'm just hanging out and I'm like, oh, that's a fucking cool name for a cigar. And I jot it down and save it for later. And then I come back and match the name to the cigar, like if it meets up. But it's just like a brainstorm, to be honest with you. I don't really spend any more like time just sitting here thinking about what I'm going to call stuff, because it almost never works out when you do it that way. Right? Like it almost never, like when you're sitting here like, oh, I got to come up with this name, fucking never comes out, at least for me. Some people's creative processes, I'm sure, are a lot better than mine. But so now they just come to me when we're thinking about stuff. Like there's some stuff like, I'm smoking one of the Hawaii blends that we do for Hawaii right now. And Marvin is a good friend of mine, and we've developed a great relationship. So I actually lean on him because we use a lot of Hawaiian names for the stuff that we do out there. So he helps me with that. But other than that, man, it's just one of those things where you're just sitting and kind of thinking about it, and it just comes up. That's really what happens, It's, because like you said, there's a theme now, and so it's very easy just to kind of run with that theme.
Well, I've been getting into this Penelope Cigar Sessions. I'm trying not to get into it much because it's not the easiest to find right now.
Rip it.
But before we do, what's your favorite pairing for a cigar? Whether it's coffee, whiskey, soda, tea, whatever.
It's whatever you're in the mood for, man. Because sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes I don't want anything with a cigar, and other times it's like whatever you're craving. Sometimes I crave a pour. Sometimes I crave an espresso. Sometimes I crave a Mountain Dew, to be honest with you. It just, I've never been one of those ones like and this is going to sound ironic because we made the Cigar Sessions bourbon, right? But I've never been this guy that, like pairings are fucking everything. You got it. Like, you like what you like. You drink what you like, smoke what you like when you're doing it, right? It's your time. You're trying to have this experience. Sometimes I think that people get too caught up in trying to create this like picture perfect moment that everyone else says they should have, instead of just enjoying the fucking moment. Like, have the cigar, drink or don't drink whatever you want, right? But for me, I'm all over the board. Sometimes it's an espresso. Sometimes it's a bourbon. Sometimes it's a diet dew, whatever. Like, you know, whatever I have, and you just get those cravings, right? Like, it's just because I don't drink a lot of coffee. I'm an espresso guy every once in a while, but like when I'm in Nicaragua, I drink a ton of their coffee because it's phenomenal, right? Yeah. It's naturally sweet and it's good. It's not acidic. It's awesome. So when we're in the factory, I'm always drinking coffee, which is super rare for me. But so it's a time and place thing, you know.
That makes sense. So yeah, if you guys are ready, I'd like to kind of get into the cigar session before we kind of forget about it and then go back into whatever else.
I forgot nothing. I'm on my second glass and it's
fantastic. It's fantastic.
I just had to re-pour.
I've forgotten plenty, but I've forgotten nothing about this.
I'm about to pour another one. But yeah, it's a blend of straight bourbon, 100% single malt, American single malt, and a light whiskey. Derived mash bill, 72 corn, 15 rye, 13 malted barley. 6 years old, according to the website, at 101 proof. And if you've watched our show before or anything, we sat down with Sin and Josh from Dissident Cigars, and they told us their side of how this whole blend went together. And so now we got Lee over here hopefully tell us his side of how this went. And from what I remember, it was just sample after sample. Well, from what Sin said, sample after sample of just like, hey, how's this? Until you guys finally figured out the final blend at PCA the other couple of years back. So first, how did they approach you? How was it like, or I should say, why did they reach out to you? Versus,
I don't have an answer for that.
Like there's thousands of other cigar companies. Is there a reason why they decided, hey, let's?
Well, I think in reality it was the parallel in the brands, right? For us, like they were grassroots just like we were. It's not like they come from a legacy of bourbon makers, and neither do I. We covered that, right? And I think the parallels of the trajectories of our brands and companies were very similar. Our approaches to market were very similar in the fact that, like, great product for a fair value, you know? So, and they have a wonderful person working for them, that Donnie, who's awesome. If you guys have never met Donnie, he's salt of the earth, a much better person than I deserve to be associated with. He is a big cigar fan, as well as bourbon, obviously, right? And he had worked for them, and then he had kind of like mended the fences to kind of like put us together, right? And he had approached me and said, hey, like, here's what we're thinking, would you be interested? And I kind of like him and Hog for the reasons I told you off air, is like, are they serious? Like, I don't want to waste my time and put my name to something that's just going to be a bunch of bullshit. Like, I'm not about being a gimmick, right? Like, I don't need any help looking like an asshole, you know? But it wasn't that. And so once that got started and we had a meeting, it was like, okay, well, let's see. And then it turned into like 2 years of us making this, right? This wasn't some fly by night thing that we just forced together. It was 2 years of just drinking samples. And what I had said to them is, like, if we're going to do this, if you want me to be a part of this, I want to make this like I would make a cigar, one component at a time. And that's what we did, you know, and it's funny because it becomes a sum of the parts, right? Just like tobacco. There's tobaccos that I don't really care for, but when they're paired and blended well with other things, it works really well. And it was the same thing with this. I'll be honest with you. The American single malt, I fucking hated it. I thought it was terrible. But it added so much depth when we added it to the other pieces of this blend, and it was phenomenal. And so we couldn't live without it now, right? But we had to go through these blind processes and it was probably, man, I don't even know, like 10 to 15 sample sessions of us just getting stuff in. I still have some of the sample bottles. I don't even know what they are anymore, but that's
what Sin said, that she's got a bunch of them and I have no idea what they even are.
Yeah,
so you're just taking notes.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. I know. Pray for me. Thoughts and prayers welcome. So, like, we're just taking notes and we're kind of figuring this all out and thinking it out and like kind of playing it and then coming up with concepts. And then we did. I have nothing but respect for the Penelope guys. I mean, to put the money and effort on the table to fly out and meet us for 8 hours. They literally flew out, did this with us, and they left. We still had to do a trade show. Right. So we met at 8 Lounge in Vegas, and we had a private room. Everyone in the industry is like looking in there like, what the fuck's happening? What's going in there? You know? And we did, man. We finished the product in there that night. And then it took a fucking forever to get the bottle registered and label and all that shit. And it turned out perfect. And it was awesome. We were just in Kentucky Bourbon Festival with the people, signing bottles, hanging out, and we sold like 2.5 pallets of whatever we had left. So it was a blast. It was a great experience. Like, it was one of those things where you're going in, you don't know what you don't know. It's like, and it was kind of cool because it was reminiscent of making my first cigar. Right. I've never fucking made a whiskey before. Right. So to work with Mike and Danny on this and Sin and Megan and the whole team, like, it was just a blast. We had such a good time.
Did you have an idea of what you wanted this whiskey to be like before you started, or did you just go in like whatever happens?
No, I did. I like I said, I wanted to create that mindset of making a cigar, right? So I didn't want a concept of like, oh, we got to make a rye, we got to do this, or we got to do X, right? Like, because the only thing that I kept in mind is like we were trying to focus on medium-bodied cigars. Right, like what could someone take into an experience with a medium-bodied cigar to expand that experience? And that was it. That was the only concept that like it was in the back of my mind about how we were going about this. Was let's make something fucking dope that people from the whiskey side and from cigar side can both come together and like it. You don't have to be on both sides of the fence to enjoy it. Right. And that's what we did. I mean, there was plenty of people that came up to us that don't even smoke cigars, but they had a cigar with me at the festival and like, oh, this is awesome. This is a great idea. So it was just one of those things like in my career that I'm super proud of. Right. And it's more the consumer side and having that experience with the folks at KBF that really brought it all together. I had so much fun making the whiskey itself, but when people actually enjoy it and share their experience with you, it kind of gives you validation for all the time and effort and sacrifice that you make to put that together, right? Same with cigars. Like that's the cool part. Then when you have that moment with your consumer base and they get it, that you get that moment where they understand what you were doing, and that's awesome. That I loved it.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple people who either have never smoked cigars before or smoke one every couple of years, and they're Penelope fans, so they picked it up and they picked up just whatever cigar they found off the shelf to go with it. So it was definitely a cool little, like, once it came out and hearing stories from different people, it's a cool little story how to, even though the whiskey and cigar worlds kind of meshed together quite a bit, it was these other outliers, whether they smoke cigars and didn't drink whiskey or drink whiskey and didn't smoke cigars, they started to come together just because of this one little bottle that has, and it just brought everyone together. Even so, and on a second note, that Penelope, I don't even know what resort at KBF looked fucking awesome.
They did an awesome job. What you don't realize is that there was torrential downpour, and those badass motherfuckers went there and had to rebuild it. They took it up and rebuilt it because of all the rain. Like they killed it.
It was
the pavilion that we had was
awesome looking.
I will tell you this, I was so pissed. We were there the first day. I was standing out there slinging samples, drip pouring. I was the worst pourer ever. I was just pouring full Glencairns for people. I didn't give a shit. I don't care. We're having a blast. Sweating my ass off. The fucking sun just beating down. The next day it was like overcast, chilly. Like, it was perfect. I'm like, God damn. Yellowstone dudes are sitting on their ass enjoying themselves, not a bead of sweat in their brow. And I lost like 15 pounds a day before, sweating my ass off, taking pictures, signing bottles, fucking pouring. Yeah. But the setup that they made for us to smoke and hang out was awesome.
Yeah. One of the girls pouring, I don't know if you remember any of them, Brittany, she was sending pictures in the we're all part in that the Spirit Animal Society. She's one of the members, and she was sending
Brittany's
pictures
awesome.
in the Instagram group chats and everything. And I was like, God, I wish I was there just to sit on that pavilion just all day, smoke some cigars, drink some whiskey. Because
that's what I was doing all day.
I got 3 different Penelope whiskeys out here. I got probably 5 or 6 more inside the house. Like,
yeah,
I love what they're doing, and shit. We have a podcast, Smoking Cigars, so obviously I love smoking cigars. And
they're just a wonderful group of people. Yeah. I felt terrible for them because their job was to babysit me the whole time. But Matt and Brittany, Ryan, all those guys, they're fucking awesome. Man.
Yeah, Ryan's another great dude. He's down about 2-3 hours south, basically where I grew up. Met him a few times at different events around Florida. He's a great dude.
Yeah, he's a blast, man. I'm just so lucky to be a part of that team, and they live and breathe Penelope. They're just road warriors, and and it's like I know what that was like. I lived that life of being out on the road trying to build a brand. So they're just really, really good people. Brittany was awesome. And the pavilion was dope. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. When you guys were tasting through all those samples and obviously giving your guys notes on each one, was there any point in time that you and Sin had completely different views on a sample or a type or anything like that, or is it pretty much?
No, I mean, in reality, no. That was like the cool part is we were pretty much in sync. There might have been a couple components that we maybe liked differently or whatever, but when it came down to the actual formalization of the final blend, like we were pretty spot on, to be honest. Like there wasn't really much deliberation that needed to happen of changes really, which was interesting, because you have 2 palates and they're different and people in different parts of the world doing this, right? Like I'm in Virginia, she's in Nicaragua. But yeah, no, I mean, we were pretty spot on. It was a pretty easy process, which was kind of surprising because generally you want a little bit of that friction to kind of force the best product. And I think we were just so in line that we just didn't need that step in the process.
Yeah, this past summer, I was in Louisville. Me and our whiskey society did 4 or 5 barrel picks, and at least 3 of them, we literally sat down and had more or less an argument of like, we want this one. No, we want this one.
Yeah.
And it seems like every time there's a barrel pick, whether I'm a part of it or I'm listening to someone do it, there's always that 1 or 2 people that are like, nope, I want this one. That one is terrible. But ends up being an argument. So
after doing both sides of it, right? After doing barrel picks and then making and actually blending, it's different because when you're picking the barrel's already done.
Yeah.
So you're not really having a point of antithesis of where it's going to go and where it's going to end up. And as a blender, you kind of start thinking about not only how does it taste right now, but how's it going to taste at this point in time or that point in time. So that's already done. So you're in a different spot, right? You're not as involved. You're just kind of taking a snapshot in a smart period of time. Plus, you don't have as much time as we had to sit with things when you're picking a barrel, right? So that plays it. Because I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. We have a friend of mine. He's done every barrel pick with us, and he is always the dude that disagrees with everyone. Never to a point of like, oh, I hate this one. He was like, oh, I just like this one more. And we've never picked the barrel that he's wanted, ever. It ends up coming to, well, I'm cutting the check, and we're not buying that barrel. But it's always him. Like the entire group agrees, and he's like, well, I think. But that's the way it goes. And I think that in reality, too, is like, it's not an easy thing to do when you're in a barrel pick, especially if you're going to the location to do it, because you don't have all this time to sit with things and kind of where your palate is that day, what you've eaten that day, where you're, how much you've had to drink or how much you've had to smoke. And like all those things factor into what you're taking in flavor wise. Right. So in reality, you're trying to make a snap judgment, and that's very, very hard to do.
Did how did the 101 proof come about? Was that just something that Danny and the guys at Penelope kind of helped you guys with, or was that just like, hey, we like this, and it just so happens that's how that blend came out?
That's just how it was. I didn't want anything watered down. I kind of wanted it to be what it is because I wanted to share the experience, right? Because when I don't know, for me, I wanted to keep the authenticity of what was happening, right? So like, I didn't want that experience of like, well, Lee blended this, but then what happened to it after the fact? So it was very important to me that when we were done with it as a group, that it stayed the way it was. So we tasted what it was going to go into the bottle as immediately. And we knew, and we had samples of what it was going to be immediately and all that stuff. So that's kind of was like a team decision to keep it what we wanted it to be. Because there's nothing worse than you creating something for people and then it's never what you wanted when it got to them.
Yeah.
Because then what the fuck was the point of all this anyway?
No, that that 101 proof definitely
it drinks so well at 101. And I've had a couple experiences with that. Like our 9-year rye with Nashville Barrel was 114 proof, but it drinks so well, man. It drinks so pleasantly, and just doesn't burn you up. Great flavor to it. All the the oils play really well together, and I feel like the Cigar Sessions does the same thing.
No, it's definitely a fantastic blend. You get a little bit of everything. There's you get a little bit of that light whiskey in there. You get a little bit of that maltiness in there, and then the bourbon with the rye and everything in there kind of comes through. And I don't know about these guys, but the last few times I was trying it without a cigar, I was getting like a on the nose and the palate, almost like a caramel grape bubblegum note. I don't know if I know Paul loves that note. I don't know if that came through.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm definitely getting a grape note on it. I'm getting a raisin note also.
Yeah, I got the raisin. So for me, the big things that I always want on a nose is like I want that caramel vanilla on the nose, right? I can tell you how much I'm going to enjoy a pour just by what that's going to do. And then there's just some heavy, heavy deep fruits on this.
Yeah. Oh,
like
the palate,
super heavy deep.
The palate for me is like that grapey note, then some like peach notes, some orange, and a bunch of other fruits that I've probably never had before. But it's just like this sweet, fruity profile.
And I think
goes great with cigars.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you had one critique, it does have a shorter finish, but that really doesn't bother me, to be honest with you. Especially with the abundance of flavors and things you bring in, like who cares?
Yeah,
and with the idea of like it being with the cigar is going to elongate your finish anyway. But I was just so happy with the nose, the palate, the mouthfeel, and the deep fruits on it, especially for what the end goal of the cigar was. The Cigar Sessions was. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we talked about the finish when we had Sin on. And every Saturday here in Jacksonville, we do a bottle share. And when this bottle first came out, or not first came out, when it first hit Jacksonville, one of the guys brought it, and I was trying it, and I'm like, it's really good, but the finish is kind of like, it goes and it drops. And then it just so happens the day before we had Dissonant on, I went to a store to pick up, I don't even remember what I was going to pick up, but as I'm just looking around, there's two bottles or 3 bottles of the Cigar Sessions. I was like, well, let me grab that just because. And I tried it with a cigar, and I was like, yeah, that finish drops out, but depending on which cigar you have, it helps. Just like with the Crook.
If you have a medium body cigar, like you said, the Crook, it's gonna run, man. That's just gonna.
It had like this dry oak woody note to it, but the spices and a little bit of that fruity note kind of just lingered, and it just kind of I don't know what kind of scientific magic goes on with cigars and whiskey when that happens, because like it would go and it just drop off, which I prefer something with a little bit longer finish.
It's just the parts of the palate that you actually utilize when you're tasting different things, right? The smoke kind of lingers.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, fucking liquid obviously coats your mouth, right? So, when you're tasting on the sides and the deepness, that's why, like, I wasn't very concerned about the finish, because the cigar itself, you almost want a shorter finish on the bourbon so the cigar can carry it, right? It's kind of like a tag team.
No,
like if you think about like a marathon, right, handing the baton to the next person, right?
I've had this one with probably 5 or 6 different cigars, and it's worked with all of them, from whether it's been we were I think I was smoking the smoke box with them. Your Crook tonight. I pulled out the JC Newman Brickhouse Maduro, so a little bit of a darker. It worked. It's been working with all of them so far, but obviously with the more medium or lighter cigars, more of that fruity note comes out, which is fantastic.
Sure.
And it's even working with this cigar that I have that is not one of yours. And we don't need to talk about the brand or any of that bullshit. I'm sure. Well, I mean, not for that reason, but because I'm pretty sure one of these two sent the cigar to me, and we've not had it on the show yet. So we'll wait until then. I just happened to pull it out and said, okay, I've not had this fucking thing yet, so here I am. But it's a very mild cigar. I'll just say that. And the graham cracker you guys were talking about earlier, just on the cigar itself, I'm pulling that out of this whiskey. I don't get it on that cigar at all when I hit this whiskey, and that's something that I very much enjoy from a whiskey a whiskey and cigar pairing, or graham cracker notes, great s'more notes actually, and I think that's the chocolate's probably coming from the cigar, and then from the raisin that I do pick up on its own from the whiskey itself. So it's a very enjoyable experience. So this, great job, you guys, blending this, obviously, but, great job to Penelope for what they do. And I guess great job to MGP because they're MGP. So, just great job all the way up the ladder.
Yeah. Well, just wait until you get this. Like I said, I think I picked up the Crook till you get it, because that final third was a lot of like toasted graham cracker and chocolate or cocoa.
Oh, you mean wait until the government stops fucking up?
Yeah. So it was more or less a graham cracker minus the marshmallow was what I was getting on towards the end of it, which was fantastic. But talk about that. Which one of your cigars do you think goes best with the cigar sessions? Or do you prefer with the cigar sessions? Yeah, I was one of the notes I had while smoking the Crook and then drinking the Penelope was it was making it a little less sweet. The whiskey was a little less sweet, but more of those like fruity notes were coming through, which was fantastic. Typically, I gotta grab some more Three Kingdoms and try it, because with cigars, unless it's like a sweet cap or infused cigar, you're not really or you don't really think that you're going to pull these fruity, like heavy fruity notes. So when you blend these together, it's that one. I'm a big fan of finding like peach or apricot or one of those stone fruit style in whiskey. So when you could put a cigar whiskey together and get it through the whole experience, I'm a fan. So with that, I don't know. I'd have to look at whatever we were smoked a couple weeks ago. It was fantastic pairing with the whiskey, whatever we're drinking. But that Crook and that Penelope, it's right up there with how it blends together and works well with each other. So, yeah. What's any thoughts about Cigar Sessions 2 and beyond for yourself? Can you talk about those ideas that you have to make it better? Or is that kind of like you trying to keep it a secret?
Yeah. I think I can speak for. I think I can speak for all three of us when I say that if you need some additional quality control testers, you can give us a call. We work for free. We're real cheap. I mean, it's huge sacrifice. I don't know that will be a lot of help, but we're willing to give it a shot. But it's a great fucking pour, and I wish that there were more of it, so more people could get their hands on it. It's if you're listening to this and you know me, just come to my home bar. You know that I'll force lots of whiskey upon you, and this will be in the mix. I mean, I don't live that far from you, man. So, I mean, we've been looking for a reason for Jerry and Paul to make a trip up here, and Paul's always threatening. He's like, "Fuck it, man, I can come anytime I want to. So just let me know." So, we just there we go.
There you go. There you go.
Make it happen. Get Jerry up here, and But anyway, this is a great. I had to have somebody else ship this to me that we may or may not know, but yeah, it's great. It's great, and I'm looking forward to more of what you guys have in store for this. It's great for me as a cigar smoker well, I should say I'm more of a whiskey drinker that enjoys cigars, but that's great that you guys are you've got cigar companies and you're finding whiskeys that you're blending these whiskeys and they just end up matching perfectly with a cigar. It's great. That you don't even have to slap the infamous cigar batch bullshit across the front of it. Of course, I say bullshit also knowing that I fall for the shit every time I fucking see it. So yeah.
No. That's one thing. I've talked to Nancy Fraley, who was basically the one that put out the Joseph Magnus cigar blend, like the first. And she more or less said, like, if she knew what this whole cigar blend was she would have named it something else. Like that whole Magnus cigar blend, she wanted to do over, basically blend it the way they do over with cognacs and Armagnacs stuff over there, where you're taking different barrels to fill it. But with what she had, she couldn't at that time. But now she's with, well, one of the companies she's with now is Still Austin, and they have their, I don't know if it's called a cigar batch, but they have their Tarringer, something like. I don't know if it's actually called a cigar batch or not, but it's basically her just blending different whiskeys they got in the warehouse to match cigars. Like there's no finish on it, no nothing, which is more or less what you guys did with this Penelope Cigar Session, just blending what is in house without any finishes. Which I love a good finished whiskey. I know these guys do too, but sometimes these
right.
finishes, like I have some port finishes or some sherry finishes that honestly I could pour in a wine glass and give to somebody that's a wine drinker, and they would think it's of sherry or port wine.
I've never had it. I've got almost all of them, and I don't have that. I've got 225th, but I don't have that one.
Yeah. and I say this with you and Paul knowing this one. One of my favorite whiskeys to pair with a cigar is this Sagamore sherry finish. It's a fantastic pour. They did it right over there, but like I said, sometimes yeah. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Oh, that 10-year rye might be pushing for my favorite whiskey of this year.
I've not had it yet, but the double. Holy shit.
Yeah, those Hirsch Willet juices. Holy shit, they're fantastic.
I'm not having one of those either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a buddy up in, well, he's right outside of Richmond, and we'd go to his family farm every year to camp, and I would just tell him, hey, anytime you're there at an ABC store and you see Eagle Rare or one of the Wellers, pick it up. I'll Venmo you. I'll give you money. And now it's just like, nope, I don't even want it. Like,
It depends. It depends on where you go. My wife and I, we went to Dallas a few years ago. You know, Weller 12, they get the largest allocation of Weller 12 in Texas out of anywhere else in the United States. So I knew that going down there. I was like, I'm going to go down here and get a couple bottles. So I walked into a store, I was walking around. This lady asked us what we were looking for. I told her, and then she disappeared for about 10 fucking minutes into the back and then showed back up with a bottle of Weller 12 wrapped in the brown bag. Sold it to us for $50, you know, told us not to tell anybody and sent us out the door. But then we went right down the street to another liquor store, and I walked in and they had a bottle of Weller 12 sitting right there. And I was like, and I don't even like it. I was bringing it back for some other folks. I saw this bottle and I was like, you know, and she's like, no, that's for our loyal customers. You know, you got to be one of our regular. Yeah. So I don't either. But I'm just saying some of them know exactly, because I went to a little Mexican store right down the street from there and walked out with 2.5 gallons of Weller Special Reserve for $90 total. You know, 2 of them straight out the door. And I was like, cool. Because up here, the shit ain't happening. And they make it 40 minutes from my house. And, you know. Uh-huh. Sure. I agree. And it is cool for, you know, there's some stores here that do that. There's stores, I think there's a lot of places that really do that, but it's just, the thing that's crazy for me personally is, like I said, it's made 40 minutes from my house, and I can't go buy it on the shelf. I have to go to Ohio to get, 107. I actually, that bottle right there, I bought on the secondary market. I think I paid like $85 for it, and I don't see them.
Which sadly I think is almost retail now.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close.
I'm pretty sure retail's $70.
But
But it is coming down, though. I mean, we are seeing a downswing in it. I'm starting to see. We don't see Weller here unless it's in the glass case anywhere around me. But I'm starting to see some E.H. Taylor tubes.
Yeah, they're starting to pop up around here.
At little. Yeah,
I know exactly. I can go buy some small batch right damn now. There's a. I don't like it either. I'm just saying it's there.
Rye.
That rye and cash
the
strength, barrel proof.
Pretty
those two
good.
are fantastic.
Right.
I'm yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I like the barrel proof. The rest of it, I'm with you. They,
I like
whatever,
to see
but
it start coming back on the shelves at just slightly above MSRP, though, because that's like the barometer of what's to come. Like, hopefully we'll start seeing more of the, because the McKenna 10 is one of my favorite whiskeys of all time, and I'm starting to see that. I think the lowest I've seen is $64.99. I've heard some people saying it, and like
it's on the.
at like $29.99 when I first started getting it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that was when it was the 6 year too, though, right? So I mean,
one extra year, double the price, and allocated it.
I prefer the 6 year personally. I've got a bottle of it sitting right there. But the 7 year, I can get it at Total Wine right now for $40.
Yeah, it was allocated 2 years ago, and then it was $75 when it became non-allocated. So everything's starting to kind of
even the 6 year.
Right,
the 6 year was what, like $15-$20 whenever it was readily available. I can get McKenna for $55 right now too. I've had one time, which was the George T. Stag. Yeah, I really, really like it. I've got the Stag Juniors behind me here. Those aren't quite the same. It's just yeah.
A lot of them drink hot. They drink hot.
Yeah, they drink real hot. So I had a bottle, and then Jerry, when he came to Louisville some years ago, brought one of those, and William LaRue Weller. I have a terrible. Yeah.
Peg leg. The peg legger.
Yeah.
Dickel's weird. They keep the ones that most of us would either consider like that Flintstone vitamin or whatever you want to call it, but the stuff that they let other companies buy out is fantastic. Like I think it's a 9-year Blue Note. It's the 9-year that they were getting from them. It's fantastic. I love regular Blue Note because it's from Green. Yeah, that's from Green River. I love anything Green River.
Yeah.
Adam got the I think it was the blueberry one, or
from Take.
Like that.
Yeah, it was fucking incredible. Oh my god, it was fucking fantastic. Still one of my favorite bottles.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us full circle back to something that I was going to tell you about earlier. We were talking about cigar batches and finishes and whatever. So this particular bottle, I don't know if you've ever had it. It's called OCD number 5. Okay, so it comes from a teeny tiny little distillery called Glens Creek. It's in Frankfurt. It's on the site of the old Crow distillery, like the true. So if you do the right tour, you can go into the derelict Old Crow distillery. You can see I've done it twice now. You can see the old fermentation vats, and you can see the furnaces and all this. I mean, it's in bad shape. It's in pretty bad disrepair, but he's in another building on the property, and OCD is kind of his way to say fuck you to the government, because they wouldn't let him use Old Crow Distillery on the bottle. Where's the name of the distillery, because that's owned by Jim Beam. But he cultured some yeast from the vats, and it's the yeast that was used in the original Old Crow Distillery, and that's what he uses for his bourbons. And this one right here, and I've had several bottles of this stuff, but this it's labeled Cigar Batch. Although if you were to ever meet Dave, you would be extremely surprised that he would even bother, because he is just like us. He will tell you exactly what he's thinking. He doesn't mince words. And so the only reason he did is because this one has a smoky quality that no other batch has ever had. And it's really fucking good. And if you've ever got the opportunity to get anything Glens Creek, Paul, is it available around you at all?
No, it's not.
Okay,
but it's fantastic.
Well, I might know a guy that would be willing to help you out with some stuff, and both of you, just get me addresses, and I'll get addresses to the guy, and we'll make it happen. But it's really, really good, and it's awesome because it was done without the intentional finish. This one doesn't have the Amberana wood added to it, or fucking nothing. It just turned out this way, and he's like, I don't know why. This one's really, really good. Works well with cigar. These guys haven't had the pleasure yet, but they will soon. But that's things like that are kind of cool. Like I said, I fall victim to the other cigar batches. I bought as many as I've seen. I've grabbed up just to try it, and some of them, for instance, my Good Times cigar batch, fucking fantastic. Then I got a Starlight cigar batch, and I bought it for the tater sticker because it was a picture of fucking Michael Jordan smoking a cigar in the locker room after the fucking 92 or after the 96 championship. I had to have it. Anyway, there's things that catch my eye. It doesn't, always, it doesn't always matter. Sometimes they're shit. I've had some really shitty ones. So, a cigar batch that doesn't work with a cigar it's kind of bullshit, right? That's why buy that?
And I like, for the most part, I like the Amberana finish as long as it's done right. RD1's one that does it right. Starlight typically does it right. But a Amberana finish with a cigar, for me, just doesn't do it. It's you get all those like cinnamon toast crunch spices with whatever spices in that cigar. It just doesn't do it. But typically, I like an Amberana finish, but it just, for me, it doesn't go with the cigar. So with them calling it cigar batches or cigar blends or whatever the fuck they want to call it, it's just like, no, like call it an Amberana finish, call it what Amberana whatever. Just don't call it a cigar batch because it does not go with a cigar.
Yeah. But you asked about unicorn bottles, and I answered, and I didn't really give these guys any room to speak. So Jerry, Paul, what's your
mine is definitely Old Crow Chessman, any good Jim Beam from the 70s, 60s, 70s. I like dusty bottles whenever I can find them. That old musty, funky whiskey, that's just been sitting in a bottle waiting for somebody to enjoy it. That's for me. I mean, if I could just drink Jim Beam from the 70s for the rest of my life. That's what I would do.
Gary and I know the perfect bar to take you to in Louisville.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Dusty Turkey, Dusty Beam, but something I don't know. I've had the pleasure of grabbing 2 WLWs for MSRP. So, and then 1 George T. Stagg for MSRP. Thanks to the ABC down in Florida, their Volt program. So I've had that. But yeah, it'd probably be a Dusty Turkey or Dusty Beam. Paul sent us, was that a 64 or something like that? That carriage.
Yeah, something in the 60s. I think you guys wanted, I think, a 71. Adam, I know you sent us out. I got a little bottle you sent out that wasn't as old, but this is
it's like
Nichols,
like a 90.
Yeah, these.
They're just something different.
It's different.
Yeah, I don't know what changed, what they were doing different back then, but there's something about that, just that, dusty bottle that it's like, that's what I wish somebody could recreate that. I don't know what's different, what's changed. They're like they're still using the same wood, the same yeast, the same process. And it's not we've done them in blinds. It's not I see this old decanter bottle.
Yeah,
now my mind tells me we've done them in blinds, and it's better whiskey. Like I choose that 80.
The turkey episode wasn't even blind, and we did that fucking, that old 80 proof that you sent out, Paul, and that 101 that I sent to you guys. We did a standard or a new 101, fucking the Jimmy Russell's anniversary, and something else. And there was a distinct, like it's just, you could just tell. And I've always thought maybe it's a placebo effect because Wild Turkey says that there's nothing different. But whatever it is, whether they did something different and they're lying to us or it's an actual placebo effect, there seems to be a distinct difference.
Yeah. Now, I've been a big fan of smaller craft distilleries, I don't know if you want to call Penelope a small one now, but when they first came out and it was just the standard 80 proof white label, their cast strength, the Architect, and they were just starting to pull out the rosé finish and stuff like that. Big fan of that. The Chattanooga whiskeys, the new riffs, like those small guys.
What? Another one just popped in my head when you were talking about that. Detling is making some of the best whiskey out there right now in Alabama. If you haven't tried anything from Detling,
teeny tiny place too, teeny tiny little distillery.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
Detling is fantastic.
Just like a lot of you smaller boutique cigar companies, you guys can, these distilleries and these cigar companies could work with this grain that a Buffalo Trace or Wild Turkey couldn't work with, because trying to buy a couple pallets of this grain to work with it's not cost effective. But you get these smaller companies, let me get a couple bags and I'll make 3 barrels of it and I'll put it out as a special release or something. Chattanooga is one of them. They put out these experimental, they call them experimental, experimental small batches or something like that, where
series.
Yeah, something like that. It's like the most I think I've seen is like 6 barrels, and they put them in, and they're $60, $70, and same thing with you guys, with being smaller boutique brands could get these crazy tobaccos that these Padrones or JC Newmans they could get their hands on, but if they're them putting out like 100 cigars is like, why are you putting that out? When you guys are putting out 100 cigars, it's like, oh, it's a nice little limited release sort of deal. Which it's always fun seeing these smaller guys, whether it's whiskey or cigars, putting out these off the wall products, because most of the time they're fantastic. They take their time to sit down and actually figure out what the tobaccos or what the grains are going to do. We had Fire and Flask on, was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
Last week.
They're using purple corn in their whiskey instead of the regular yellow dent corn, which brings this like sweet, earthy note to the whiskey, which I think we talked about. They're the only company that's actually doing a full purple corn. There's other companies that are blending it in, but they're the only ones doing a purple corn. And it just brings this another dimension to the whiskey. Like you get the sweetness like you would from a normal whiskey, but then there's just this something else that just pops. And it was fantastic. And their stuff was what, a year old?
A year old.
A little less. Or no, I'm sorry.
A little more than I think it was like 1.1 or 1.2.
1.1. Yeah, 1.1 years.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, you would
months.
never guess that was a 1-year-old whiskey.
And
now here it is right here. As a matter of fact, if you can, let me turn this light off so you can see the color in it real quick.
It is dark.
I mean, that doesn't look like a fucking year-old whiskey.
No, and I'd rather have. If I'm walking into a store and I get like the special release from a company like Fire and Flask or Neely Family Distillery or Catoctin Creek or JT Mellick, like some of these smaller brands, and there's a bottle of George C. Stagg sitting next to it.
I'm going with the smaller brand.
I'm going with the smaller special release because
for sure.
I know it's going to be so much better.
Yeah.
But if I have the ability to get my hands on that George C. Stagg, because it's
I'll flip it and buy all the other bottles on that shelf that was next to it.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to get my hands on one bottle because I was friends with the liquor store owner, and he was willing to sell me a bottle that he had gotten, and taken home to his collection. So I wish I still had that connection. He was great. When I'd walk in, he'd just tell me, just go in the back and find what you want. I'd go back there, rifle through his boxes, and find all the shit that he hadn't put out on the shelf yet. I was constantly walking out of there leaving cases of Blanton's behind because I don't give a fuck about that. But still, the other shit. At that time, I was really into the old Ezra 7, which I still very much appreciate. It's very, very good, 114 proof. Now the price is way, way overinflated. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, McKenna's starting to sit around on the shelves here. It's $55, which I think is a fair price. It used to be 40, 45 back in the day before it, got up to over $100 in some cases. But I could see $55 for that product, 10-year bottle and bond whiskey, and it's consistent and fantastic. Even though they're single barrels. Yeah, I think they're single barrels.
Yeah.
But they're. I mean, it's great. It's always great. I've never had a bad one. I've had some that I liked less than others, but I've never had a bad one. But it's, like I said, starting to sit around on shelves here again, which is great. I'm starting to see the Heaven Hill 7-year bottle and bond, which is great. That's starting to sit around on shelves again. I like even being able to find an OWA. I don't know if the retail price is double what it used to be. That sucks, but yeah. Anyway, I would just like for this increased availability that these distilleries have talked about for years now actually becomes a reality. And I think the bubble hasn't burst yet, but it's very slowly leaking. Yeah, and that's great. That's one thing I appreciate about the cigar industry. And there are some that are really expensive. I mean, let's be honest. And there are some really great ones that are not expensive. But I mean, you don't unless you're extremely rich. You're not really worried about trying to track down some of these really expensive ones. And the market doesn't fluctuate in such a way that you have to really worry about some of those great ones that are not expensive actually becoming too fucking expensive down the road. So that's awesome. And, the fact that, and I kind of fell into this ass backwards, because one day I decided I was just going to create this podcast, and I reached out to Paul. And then before I knew it, we reached out to Jerry. And we just found that the pairing, is between whiskeys and cigars is just fantastic. And I say ass backwards because I always hear about bourbon and cigars. I never really heard about rye whiskey and cigar. I never really heard about light whiskey and cigar, those types of things. So, and there's a lot of really good, you mentioned Sagamore, that double barreled rye. Holy shit, that is a great cigar to put, or a great whiskey to put with a cigar. It's fantastic. I've not had the 10-year. I would like to have the 10-year. We get like 3 Sagamores here, and their portfolio is so much bigger than that. It pisses me off. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Same.
if you need a little sample, you might know a couple people that have some that can magically make it appear at your door. Adam might have some coming his way anyways, but I mean, if I don't know how readily available it is up there, or if you would even want to pick up a bottle before trying it. But if you want to try it, just reach out. We could get that happening.
Absolutely.
But like I said, it's up there. Definitely top 5 of my favorite whiskeys this year. Granted, I'm not going out trying to find the 2025 BTAC collection. I'm not finding the King of Kentucky. I'm not trying to find all. I stick to what I like. No, I stick to what I like. And I waited in line once this year, and it was just because I was at Bardstown. We were about to do a Bardstown pick, and it just so happens it was the day they dropped the Mizunara finish Bardstown. And we had like 40 minutes until our barrel pick, and we just kind of like, well, we got nothing else to do. We were just going to sit at the bar and drink. Let's just sit in line and grab that. And it's just, otherwise I wouldn't have. But yeah,
I'm not sitting. I've waited in line for the pennies pick at Sagamore. When you get there like 6 o'clock in the morning and you wait in line and you bring one single penny and they give you 3 200 milliliter bottles of different distillate, but you're waiting in line in the morning and you got half the people have like coffee that they're pouring for everybody, half the people have whiskey. So you're just waiting in line with people drinking coffee and whiskey. You're there for like 2 hours, and then you give this, girl a penny at the end of the line under a tent, and you walk out with 600 milliliters of whiskey for a penny. And it's just, and then you go saddle up at the bar or whatever you want to do. It's just a cool experience for that. But yeah, I'm not waiting in line to buy something overpriced.
You can't do that anymore with the penny being fucking deleted from existence.
Well, now it's more valuable. Yeah, right.
I've got a bank. Yeah, I've got a bank bag of wheat pennies that I'm fucking holding on to. As soon as I heard that was happening, I was like, all right, I'll hold on to these and see what happens. Fucking. My grandmother saved every fucking penny she ever came across, and now I've got just a bag of useless copper. I should melt it down and find something more useful for it.
Trust me. Hey, me and my kid, we get into that numismatic world a little bit. We fill out the books and stuff. If you look through that bag, there's a couple you could retire on in that bag you might have. So don't melt it down just yet.
You go ahead and send me what to look for, and I'll spend 3 days looking for
what to look for, because you might have something that you might never have to work again in that bag.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we got a couple more. I'm sure me and Paul have the same.
I got one last question for you. Yeah, we're gonna turn the recording off right here. Poop, it's off. What can you tell us that you don't want anybody else to know that you got coming up next? Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. I guess we got a I don't know what you want to call it, a little rapid fire round or whatever, just to kind of finish it off. When you're working on a blend, what are you what are you listening to? Or is it just silence in the factory? You got some music going on. What kind of music is it? Or is it just depending on the day? Oh, yeah. So I know it all depends on how it's blended or whatever. But what's your go-to Vitola? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Punch, straight, or V-cut? See, I'm the other. I'm the other way around. I like to V-cut everything, but the torpedoes and that kind of shape, I usually V-cut just because trying to fit it into V-cut, it's a pain in the ass sometimes. That too. Your favorite non-Stolen Throne cigar or brand? That was quick. Oh. You had to have a favorite before starting your own brand. Everyone does. Like, it's not like you're just gonna start a brand without smoking ever. But and then I guess before we start wrapping up here, where can the listeners and everyone find you? On Facebook, Instagram, whatever. There you go. You guys have anything else to throw in there?
No, nope. Just appreciate you coming on, and
absolutely
appreciate these fine cigars. I got into the Yorktown Fleet, and I'm really digging this one as well. Yeah. No. Really.
Anything else you want to plug before we get on out here? There you go. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to have you. It was great. Great. That about does it for this episode of Bourbon Beards and Belvederes. As always, we want to encourage you to check out these products. Lee was kind enough to tell us about his Instagram. Did you tell us about your website, sir?
Yeah, it's
Okay, yeah. So check them out. Look for them at your local cigar shops. I'm sure they're great. I can't wait to find out USPS quit fucking with my life. As always, we want to encourage you guys to support veterans, period, wherever they may be. They gave a lot for us. At least we can do is give a little for them. We still have our giveaway going for another week?
However long we want to throw it.
I mean, we might as well keep it up because as far as I know, we've not gotten anybody. It's pissing me off. So, folks, donate to your favorite veterans charity. $5 gets you an entry. Everything you donate after that is an additional entry. Like and share the post. That's a couple additional entries. They get you an awesome bottle from 10th Mountain Distillery. They get you a 150 count cigar humidor. And they get you some awesome products from Lit Beard Co., another great veteran-owned company, as well as 10th Mountain Distillery. The humidor is a piece of shit from China, but it's made of cedar, so it'll do its job. Just make those donations. You're not giving it to us. You're donating it to your charity of choice and then showing us proof. That's all we need. We're not looking for credit card information or any of that bullshit. We just need proof that you spent at least $5, and we just want to give away some great stuff to some great people and help out some awesome people. So be sure to look out for children. There's we're always talking about how crazy the world is, and it's not getting better. I was listening to an interview on a different podcast the other day. Apparently there's a thing out there called the 764. They call themselves a group. I've heard of them referred to as a cult as well. They're grooming children through the use of Roblox and Minecraft, TikTok, Instagram, and other social media. They find these children that are vulnerable, and then they groom them to think that they're their friend, and then they get them to do terrible things like cut stuff into their body, kill their family, kill their animals, kill themselves. There was a gentleman on the interview that I heard that set himself on fire in a hotel room while they sat and laughed watching it on video. And a 14-year-old girl that they got to hang herself in the parking lot of something. It was an abandoned parking lot. The world's fucking nuts. So let's be on the lookout. Human trafficking is a real thing. Kids are the most vulnerable. Let's be on our toes to protect them. Make sure to pay attention to what they're doing. Do what we can. We can't protect them from everything. We can protect them from a lot. So let's just at least do what we can. So until next week, enjoy your cigars and your whiskey responsibly, and cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Lee. Bourbon Beards and Belvederes is produced by Adam Bolden, Paul Rousseau, and Jerry Ullman. Edited by Jerry Ullman. Music by Ryan Johnson. You can find all of our links on our website at bourbonbeardsandbelvederes.com and at beacons.ai/Bourbon Beards and Belvederes. As always, enjoy your bourbon and cigars responsibly. Cheers.